Radio Tribe.
What's up? Welcome to the Disconnect Podcast, where reconnection is the dialect. I am Eyebee and this is my co-host.
J-No, the Sun King.
Yes,
so,
sir.
yes. This is part 2, y'all. We definitely finna tap back in. But before we get to it, definitely want to send a shout out to Voila Vodka. Voila. If you drinking, making sure you drinking responsibly. You feel me?
Absolutely.
You know, don't do nothing crazy.
So part 2, we starting with our guest that we had from the previous show. You want to introduce yourself again to the people?
What's up? It's your boy True Francisco. Follow me on all social media.
Okay, Francisco, let's talk about, we were currently talking about crack, cocaine in the 80s. That's what we were talking about. So just to kind of give y'all a brief summary of what we touched on. Make sure you go check out part 1, by the way. But we kind of touched on what happened in the 80s with the crack in the 80s in the era and how the people didn't know when it came to the streets, and how Ronald Reagan was the president from 1980 to 1989. Also ran concurrent with the career of Rick Ross in between 1982 and 1989. Also, we talked about the commercial from 1987. This is your brain with the egg. This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. The eggs frying. When people started coming to know what crack does to the human body. We left off where we were talking about the New Jack City, how they glorifying it. Everybody want to be Nino Brown. Now we up to the post-crack era.
Right.
How we living with these things today.
You know, before we even do that, though, I'm thinking maybe we should touch base just on hip-hop. How they pushing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how they pushed it. And not just hip-hop. I mean, yeah, I'll say hip hop too, but entertainment, period.
Right.
That goes right along with New Jack City and stuff like that, you know. Me personally, I always felt when I heard people, you know, rapping about, man, I'm selling the crack, moving these rocks and stuff like that. I always thought that was lame as hell.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be straightforward. To all you rap niggas that's rapping like that and you talking like that,
Yeah.
that shit lame as hell.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And I said that, yeah.
Because somebody got to address it.
Right.
Somebody got to be real enough to address it, because you even got people that never sold crack a day in their life rapping like they did it and glorifying it as well.
Right.
And trying to, take on this image.
Right. Trying to be trendy.
You don't stand for nothing.
And you're gonna fall for anything.
You don't
and that's what they do when they falling for anything.
Yeah.
So, even like just people that make jokes about, I feel like we black people, we laugh at everything, man. I mean, I know we laughing through our pain, y'all.
Yeah.
Tribe. I know we laughing through our pain, but it's some stuff we gotta sit back and we gotta sit in it.
And take serious.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we gotta sit in it and take it serious.
Man, I was at the comedy show last night, y'all. And they cracked a lot of crackhead jokes.
Yeah.
A lot of crackhead jokes. And it just made me think about some of the people that may have been in the audience, in the crowd, that maybe be struggling with some of these issues. It just kind of make you wonder, like, how do they internalize these jokes and stuff? Like, we crack jokes all the time, right? And people be like on the ass end of the joke. But really, do we really stop and think about, like, it's funny to most of us, but how are these people really internalizing this? And even the people that has the family members that's dealing with this, is it really funny?
It really ain't.
Is it really funny? Because
I know it was a rhetorical question, but I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I see a lot of, and it be our own people. Like I see a video, like they had a girl from my hometown, and I had a family member this happened to as well. The family member that I'm speaking on, they'll see someone at their lowest point, right? Their lowest point in life, and you know what they do?
Bring out that old camera. Want to film?
Press record. They want to film it for likes. And comment. You want to humiliate somebody at their lowest point in their life for shits and giggles. Like it's funny. Everything ain't funny, y'all. Everything ain't funny. And I don't like them kind of jokes. I'd rather a joke. If I'm going to crack a joke about you, or I'm going to crack a joke about you, I want it to be a joke where even you laughing at yourself, like we all laughing, right? But I'm not for the crack no joke that's going to be ridiculing and demeaning the person. It's a way. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. I don't really like the whole comedian, how the comedians do that, like how they crack joke, like, and they person be the butt of the joke. I don't like jokes like that. I don't really enjoy them. But I don't want to veer too off into that. But even with the comedians, they go like right alongside with the rap community, right alongside with the movies, and it's just a lot, and it's time for us to start taking these things serious, right? So touching on post-crack era, the things that we dealing with today. After our family member go down and through it, and we go down and through it with them, what we left with today? What pieces are we left with today? What would you say? What pieces, based off of your experiences, right? What pieces are you left with today, post-crack era? Well, how did this leave you?
Okay, I hope I don't be a little long-winded with this. Let me see.
It's all good.
Take your time. Take your time. I ain't trying to sound like the church.
The after effect is and it's funny because we in this month we in now. We just ended it off. I want to pose this to everybody: mental health awareness.
Exactly.
Right. When you're out in the streets and you're doing drugs, a lot of those people are thinking about self. Right. They don't think about the people they affect due to doing drugs, the aftermath, the after effect, the people that will suffer around them.
Right.
When they do it. Me personally, it's the first time I've ever talked about it. So it's the first podcast I've ever been open and honest about this subject.
Yeah.
My dad did drugs. Mm-hmm. He was on them heavy, and to me, it was a detriment to his life when it was all said and done. As a kid, I remember I was smarter than the average kid. So I wasn't one of the kids that seen little signs and didn't know what it was.
Right.
Even at 5 or 6 or 7, when I go hug my dad and he got a short shirt on, and I look at his arm and I see needle marks in his arm. I picked up and I knew what it was. My mother made sure that she shielded me from it, to never know, and all my family. But I was a smart kid. Like I said, I did research. Even when I got to a certain age, I did research and I looked up stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that when you do this, and this I'm talking about from my personal experience, it changed the trajectory of my life and my mother's life. Because, say, my mother and dad, when they got married, their plan was to have more than just me.
Right.
Right. But it didn't get to that point because of the drugs.
Right.
And people, when they're on these drugs, they change. It's not that, like I said earlier, it's a whole different person.
Right.
I knew my dad when he was at his best, happy person, always joking. He was disciplined, but always joking, always around. And then as it got worse, you start seeing the after effect. I could recall this, and I talk about this all the time. My mom don't like me talking about it because she feel like I always try to shun him and speak negative on him. But I'm only speaking from what I seen as a kid, right, as far as what's been detrimental to me and was hurt me in the long run.
Right.
I can recall, and I remember this memory like it's yesterday. 2 things. I remember when I was 9 years old, my daddy asked me to come to my Uncle Greg's house so I could see him for his birthday. So we come there, and I'm excited. Me seeing my daddy, that was like going to Astroworld. If any of y'all who know what Astroworld was, or Disney World, let me say that. So I can remember sitting there, and I'm waiting. Hours go by, and we still waiting. My uncle called my daddy. He didn't pick up. And as a child, I'm so confused. I'm like, my mama brought me to see him on his birthday, not my birthday, his birthday. He asked for me to come over here, and he not show up. Mm-hmm. And then later on, what that happened was, it was around Christmas time in school. All the kids were talking about what they wanted for Christmas. The kids, I want this toy. I want a dirt bike. I want this. And then they get to Mark Stephen Francisco Jr. What you want for Christmas? And the only words that I could think of to come out of my mouth was, I just want to see my daddy.
Oh.
And they see the look on my mama's face as a kid when my teacher told her that. Because I remember my teacher calling her, and I was in the room when it happened. And I remember her saying my teacher's name, and I'm just kind of listening. I ain't gonna lie, being a nosy kid. And the look on her face when I looked up at her, I said, Mom, I got a question. She's like, yeah, son, all happy and smiling. I was like, Mama, why my daddy don't want me? And she took a pause. She just looked at me, and I just see her eyes tearing up. Like, how do you tell your child what's really going on? How do you even answer that in general? These are some things that drugs do as far as family. Now growing up, which is so ironic of life, and I don't want to be hypocritical. So now I go through life. My daddy ended up dying when I was 15 years old. Yeah. Drugs literally led to him getting sick, and then he ended up dying. Yeah. And then a year later in the same month, my grandmother, my mother's mother, dies in the exact same month, right? So because of these are 2 of the 3 most important people in my life at the time. Both of them died while I'm a teenager. As a kid, I didn't know how to grasp around it. I didn't know how to understand it. So when kids don't understand something, they get angry. They get angry at the world. And like I said, I don't want to sound hypocritical. I know we're talking about drugs and this, but this resulted into me getting in trouble, hanging with different crowds. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Selling drugs was one of the things that I ended up doing because of this. Because I'm mad at the world. I looked at it, I felt like I was mad at God. Because I'm like, oh, you took him away from me. When in reality, you know, it was hurting because you can't save someone who don't want to save themselves.
Right.
You can try all you want to, but in their mindset, if this is what they're going to do it regardless.
Right.
You could try your all, and that stuff gets tiring. It takes a toll on you, right? So now you go through life, and now you're dealing with the stuff. Like, my daddy wasn't, in my eyes, supposed to die when I was a teenager. And now it's affected me in the long run. When I see kids with their dads coming home from school, I get pissed. Sometimes I get angry.
Yeah.
Because I never got to experience that. My daddy never even seen me play a professional basketball game from like elementary, middle school, high school. He didn't make it till I was in high school. Or maybe he did when I was in 9th grade. But my point is, that takes a toll on you as a child, seeing that. You know what I mean? It bothers you. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, the reason why I prefer to be called Truth instead of Mark Stephen Francisco Jr., because growing up, all my life, I've had to hear you look like him, you talk like him, you act like him. And as a kid that's not getting that man that you keep telling me I look like in the home, you get frustrated. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, my cousin and all them saw my daddy more than I did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy to me. I saw my uncle, who I looked up to more as a father figure, more than I saw my own old man. You know? So some of them might get frustrated when I talk about the negative things he did, but me, I don't care about them getting frustrated because I'm telling you what I saw from my lens.
That's your experience.
Yeah, you saw him as your uncle, but I'm telling you what he was like as my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as much as I love him, it's still frustrating because now I have these impediments that bothers me going through life because because like I said, drugs took yours away pretty much.
Right.
And now I'm forced to grow up without you. And now it's frustrating. It's hurtful. You know what I mean? I had to find this out when I was like a couple years ago. I was watching this movie with Tatiana Ali in it, and it was about a dad who the girl was a musician because her dad, but he was never around. And she snapped at him, and she started crying, and she said, "I just need you to be quiet and shut up." And she told him everything she felt, and she said, "I got a fiance who wants to love me, but I can't even give him all of me because I'm thinking to myself, the man that made me can't even love me, so why would you?" And that takes a toll on those people. Like, abandonment issues are real in people.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I was wondering, like, I always thought, like, okay, is something going on with me? Like, why I keep pushing people away that I love? And it's something that in the past I haven't been able to control myself. It just, and my mindset was, oh, this is who I am. But I had to think about it. As a kid, when you have abandonment issues, that feel that you got of feeling abandoned and lost by somebody you love the most in the world, you don't want that feeling again. So when you feel somebody you're getting close to who's getting around you, somebody you love, like a woman that you love, you're like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and push her away before she can get me all in her grasp and break my heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now I'm feeling back to how I felt once before when it came to my old man. And I think a lot of people need to think about that. Like, people that are on drugs, it's not just about you, it's about the people that you love and care about you. You know, that's why now I'm always speaking as far as what this month stands for, because what he did is very detrimental to me. What he did was very detrimental to my mother. You know, as a son growing up, you know, you be wondering, like, how could you do my mother the way you did her?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm apologizing to my mother right now because I'm finna get more personal. Mm-hmm. And I know she probably don't want me to tell her business, but this is my story too as well, so I hope she understands. But the drugs, it turned a loving man to now getting physical. Yeah. And the physical abuse is got to be put on somebody, and it wasn't on the child, but it's on the person that he claimed he loved. Yeah. You know what I mean? And these are the things that result. So now growing up, like I keep telling y'all about the reason why I like being called Truth, I grew up my whole life trying to be opposite of what I felt my daddy was. Right. I don't do drugs. You know, well, I don't do non-prescribed drugs. Of course you do, like doctors and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't do drugs. I don't drink really. Because my family history, when they drink, they get angry. And they want to fight. Mm-hmm. They get physical. So I really don't drink. I might drink wine, but like alcohol, I'm not really big on alcohol. If it's a special occasion, I'll drink, but I'm not finna be one of the people, oh man, I'm finna get messed up today. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that's not me. So growing up my whole life, when people said Mark at one point, because my mom started calling me Truth when I was young, because I couldn't lie to her. Something else my daddy couldn't do to her. Obviously the drugs change people. So, but growing up, the reason why I like going by Truth instead of Mark, because Truth explains to me who I am as a person. But it also lets me have my own identity, which my identity my whole life has been to this man, like I said, this man, my dad, who felt like a stranger to me at times. I remember going a whole year and a half without seeing him. You know, and as I grew up and I kind of started seeing the patterns, I kind of now understood. reason why he was probably doing that. Because when you get on that type of drug, it changes who you are. You're not even look in your eyes, you're not the same person that you once were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's very it's very hurtful and bothersome to someone like me, because the irony of it is, this is what tore my dad's life up, and because of tearing his life up and him leaving, I end up getting into that field. And that's why, what's it called, oxymorons that is? Where you been, it's kind of like hypocritical, like, this is the reason what kind of messed up your dad's life and eventually yours, and this is what you end up getting into, because I was angry and I was frustrated. You know, I thought if I do it, that everybody else will suffer and feel like I'm feeling.
Right.
Because really I was suffering mentally.
Right.
And even to this day, I mean, each and every day, it's a battle to find that happiness internally, because at the end of the day, it's still a void being lost. Although I get better each and every day at accepting it, even though it's been years now, it still never goes away. It's like a wound that leaves a scar forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These mental hurdles you still have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? You still got to deal with it. You still got to deal with Father's Day coming up. I get frustrated on Father's Day.
Yeah.
I can't, everybody, I called my dad and told him Happy Father's Day. I'm like, well, I can't call mine.
Yeah.
You know, it messes me up in my mind knowing that my kids will never meet their grandpa.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
All they could do is hear stories and see pictures.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be like that, man.
Yeah.
You know, he was supposed to see me get old. I was supposed to be joking with him at 50 years old. Hey, old man, remember you used to look as good as me? You know what I'm saying? Joking around with him. It was supposed to be happily ever after. When I come home from college, I get to see mom and dad. Dad put me on game. I had to learn how to be a man on my own. At 15 years old, 16, I grew up a lot faster than I should have had to grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to be the protector in my house. In the household, it's supposed to be husband, wife, kids. The husband's supposed to be the protector.
Yeah.
But when there's no dad in the household, it forces the child to grow up earlier than he needs to, and that he becomes a protector. And as a kid, if you grow up and you looking to protect this woman that's stuck beside you while this man wasn't around, now it results to you feeling like, okay, we from the hood. We know this can get real dangerous around here. Let me go find something to make sure I protect my household. Right. And that results to kids now at 14 and 15 having a gun. You know what I'm saying? Going down the street and buying illegal guns. So of course, you know you can't buy a real gun at 15. So now you got to go to the streets and you got to go to the hustlers and you got to say, hey, give me a, let me get a gun. And most of the time it's going to be an off-brand gun. It's not going to be a gun with a serial number, because guns in the streets don't.
Got a couple bodies on it probably.
You know what I'm saying? So, this is all the after effect of crack, cocaine, and the after effect it does to an individual.
Absolutely.
And like I said, it's on that person to try to get over that, but that's the battle of life, and it's a hard hurdle to climb over sometimes. And some people lose that battle of life. My dad lost that battle of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, although it was negative and it has affected me in the long run, it also has helped me in many ways, because seeing that made me want to go to a different route. I remember the last conversation we had before he died, I was 15. He looked at me, he said, son, look at me. I had my head down, he said, son, look at me. I never heard him be so aggressive but so sincere, because he usually was just aggressive, like trying to be tough, you know what I'm saying, toughen me up. But he looked at me, he sounded so sincere, just like the most sincere I've ever heard him say. Only time I ever heard him say sincere was when he told me he loved me before he leave me. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. He's like, you know, when I was young, it's going to be a point in time where somebody going to try to get you to take that wrong road. He said, look at me, son. He kept saying, look at me. He said, I want you to look at that road, you turn around, you walk the other way. He said, I took that road, I lost my family, I lost my wife, and I'm about to lose my life. And he put his head down. He said, if you need an example of how your life will turn if you take that road, just take a look at me, son. I want you to be better than me. And I seen a tear come out of his eye. And I'm 15, I'm emotional at the time, I'm crying, you know what I'm saying? Because I know, at the time I knew my daddy wasn't going to be here that much longer. You know what I'm saying? So when you know somebody about to die, it's even harder, because you like, you know they about to go. So
you can never brace yourself.
You can't brace yourself for it. You know what I mean? It's just you just know it. You know what I'm saying? Just when something just happened, it just catches you by surprise. When you know it, it eats you up more inside, because like you know there's no chance this person is not gonna be able to keep going. You know, and that was probably the realest thing in my whole life that he ever told me. Yeah. And even to this day, I remember that weekend I was supposed to go see him. I had seen him in the worst state he was in, and it just bothered me so much. So I wanted to at least take one weekend to kind of, you know, get myself right as a teenager before I go back and see him, because it took a lot out of me. Yeah. And that weekend I missed, he ended up passing away. Yeah. And to this day, I regret it. It bothers me. You know, sometimes I even have my moments when I'm by myself and it hit me. You know, and I never, you know, I always smile in front of people. But some people can sometimes be suffering in silence. Yeah. And when you get by yourself in the room, that when you by yourself, that gives you time to get your thoughts together. Yeah. And I'm a deep thinker. All I do is think, read, think. I'm a real deep thinker. So my mind never sleeps. Even when I sleep, the cycle continues. Yeah. So these are some of the type of effects that it might have on someone's life. So if y'all need a story to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, that come from it, mostly the ugly, you just take a look at my story.
Yeah.
Because everything that my old man has done has had an effect on my life moving forward. And it's easy to say, oh, man, you just got to get over the hump. Nah, it ain't that simple.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. The influence that a dad have in a young man's life is much bigger than people realize.
Yeah.
Yes, the mothers are the nurturers, but the dads is what keeps the young man tough to teach him how to be a man.
Balance.
Balance. A woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. She could try her best.
Right.
But that's the only thing he can learn from the dad, especially in the black community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even to this day, there's two things that you won't find around me. One, woman abusers. Because I ain't rocking with you, bro. I don't care. We've been friends for years and I can't fuck with you no more. You put your hands on women. Yeah. I didn't had a fight with my own cousin because of it, not that one, but another cousin because of this. You know what I'm saying? I've had a fight with my own brother because of this. Mm-hmm. Not my blood brother, but my cousin is like my brother because of this. And I said woman abusers and deadbeat fathers. Yeah. There's a reason why I have disdain for those two things. And all that correlates to circling around Mark Stephen Francisco Sr. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Your traumas that you dealt with.
It's traumas. And
we do carry them traumas over to our adulthood. And I think it's necessary for us to have these conversations because I'm just hoping that somebody somewhere will be scrolling and to listen to stories like this and see how they hurting their kids, man.
Yeah. Just hearing you talk, really, all I can see is you writing a book.
I can see that.
All I can see is you speaking on it and writing a book. Yeah. You're a writer already. You know what I mean? And
then you get that out.
Right.
You get that out because you just said, I don't talk about this. Okay, such and such will get mad when I say this, probably gonna have a problem. So this is our energy that you just housing and just storing in the inside of you. And so you can't work on your traumas like that.
At all.
You can't get past certain things if you can't talk about it. It gotta come out. Because that's the way energy is supposed to flow. You just holding it. You just holding it in the inside of you and you can't heal. Yeah. You're not gonna heal like that. So I think it's a good thing that we talking about this, My experiences was a little bit different. My mom and my daddy was both on drugs. So my mom, she was like the chick in school that everybody just loved. Like, she was just like so perfect and she was on the drill team and so pretty and so this and everybody liked her, but you know what they say? They say good girls like bad guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good girls like bad guys. So she ran into this guy that she was digging, and they got to, talking and stuff like that, and that's when she got introduced to this. But he is not the one. My dad actually is the first person that my mom actually done it with.
Oh, wow.
And he the one that told me this. He told me the story. And he told me he would tell her, go on about your business. I'm not no good for you. I'm not no good. But she kept chasing him and chasing him and chasing him, fighting every girl that he wanted to try to date and stuff like that. So when she found out what he was doing, what he was in, which was in the 80s, because I was born in 84. Yeah. And she was like, I know what you do. I know your little party drug and stuff, what you do. And I bought some. And I want to do it with you. So since you're not into girls like me, I want to do the things that, the girls that you're into are doing. I want to do that with you. Yeah. And he told her no for the longest. But then she told him, she said, well, look, if you don't do it with me, I'm going to go do it with somebody else because I'm going to do it. That's what she told him. So this is how everything transitioned with her. Now, of course, I was too young to even remember this. My mama was just walking across stage. Actually, I was in the audience. She had just had me. My birthday is May 21st. She was graduating like May 24th, 25th or something like that. So I had to be like a couple of days old. She wasn't even supposed to come out of the hospital with a C-section like that, but she actually walked across stage and I was fresh in the audience and got her diploma. So she managed to do that. As time went on, we was living with my grandmother, and my grandmother was she was mama. She was mama to me. My mama was more like a sister. We grew up like a sisterhood. So I would just, if she was doing something wrong, I would go tell my granny on her. And I called her granny, and I called my mama by her first name. Yeah. So it wasn't until I got pregnant with my son and my motherhood instinct kicked in. I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I should consider calling her mama. Because I need to be able to show my children how to respond to me in disagreement when I get older. Everything is kind of like a generational curse. My dad was a lot different. Now my mom, she was like really heavy on it. You know, like man, it's so hard to talk about. Oh. Because it's like you don't want to step on toes, you know what I'm saying? But she took a lot. She took a lot from me. I had like 8, 9 bicycles. In the stores, I went the same. I go in the store, baby, I went in the store, and I came out and your bicycle was gone. You know, it's a never ending thing. It's just a take. That's how this relationship was. Now my dad is when I learned the difference between a smoker and a crackhead, because it's a difference between a smoker and a crackhead. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So my dad was on some, hey, I get paid Friday. Write out your list Thursday of all your necessities and everything that you need. And I'ma slide up there. I'm gonna pick you up Friday and bring you to get everything, to check everything off that checklist. Because on Saturday, all my money going to the dope man, but I want to get you out the way first. This made me have so much respect for him, because he always put me first throughout his addiction, and he always kept it real. Versus,
I respect that.
To have you know what I'm saying? Versus having a parent that's, have you realized? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I can't respect you. I can't respect you if you're not keeping it real with me, because for one, that's like throwing salt on old wounds. How I'm gonna get past that when you lying to me? We can't even talk about it. I can't even get you to admit to what the hell you doing first to even get past it. So you steady lying to me saying you're not doing this, but I'm looking at your appearance. Your appearance is fading. And I'm looking at that. So these are some of the things that we dealt with. My grandmother used to stay up all night long, drinking, worried about her, worrying about if her daughter was gonna turn up, washed up on the river somewhere, dead. You know, so she drunk herself into oblivion every night. But then my mama decided to go out and have children, some more children. So if my grandmother was drinking herself into oblivion every night, and my mama out and about living her best life, guess who home with them kids, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like 12 years old. She had twins. I had 2 twin brothers. One of them started crying, the other one started crying. Now we all in there crying, because I don't know what the hell to do with these babies. Yeah. All these babies crying. I done changed them, I done fed them, I done burped. I don't know what the hell to do, right? So then you got these family members, they come around during the holidays and shit, and they want to tell you, you need to call your mama mama. Don't call your mama by the first name. Don't call your mama this thing. You can't tell me how the fuck to feel. Yeah. First of all. Exactly. Because what the fuck was your antennas when I was up all night crying, calling y'all? I'm calling everybody. Cousins, aunties, I'm calling that. None of y'all hoes pulled up. None of y'all stepped in. None of y'all, so y'all can't tell me shit. Yeah. That's how I feel. And that's why I don't really fuck with my family today. I know I get a little vulgar. I know I'm saying I've been a little rough. That's why I don't fuck with them. Because it's fake. It's fake than the motherfucker. Because what was y'all? Where was y'all? I didn't have no childhood.
When you were struggling.
Right. Yeah, I ain't had no fucking childhood. Like, where was y'all? Y'all wasn't, y'all hoes, y'all was watching from the sideline. You knew what the fuck was going on, but ain't nobody step in. No. So let's be real about it. So all that old fake ass shit for holidays and things, like I'm not digging it. Yeah. I'm not digging it. They know that. They know that. This is my first time talking about it like on social media, but I feel some strong ways about it. I really do. And my mama, to this day, she's still suffering. She was a very troubled child too. She was a very troubled child. She dealt with a lot of my mama came up in the era where if you didn't pass the paper bag test, you wasn't getting in. Because my mama was the dark skin out of all her siblings. So she got treated a little different. It was like, oh, everybody, oh, that little black one, that little black one, that little black one, that little black one. So she was always trouble from it's like she was dealt a bad hand from the jump. I actually took the time to understand her traumas and try to understand why she made some of the decisions she made. And it actually made me a little bit more empathetic for her and her situations and her struggles, and just try to understand them. You know what I'm saying? Even working for TDC. So she did a lot of time. I don't know how much time we got.
No, we good. We're just gonna run this one.
She did some time in the penitentiary.
No, you good. I'm gonna say you done. Go ahead.
She did some time in the penitentiary. My mama did 10 years in the penitentiary, man. And so while she was in there, she was dealing with trauma and stuff in the inside of her too. They had some officers that went up in there to search her cell. They ain't like her very much. And my grandmother ended up passing away, which was the only one person that she felt like really loved her. in the world. But because she wasn't in the right custody level, they didn't let her come home to get her closure with her mom. So when she finally was released, she was hurt because some officers went into her cell and tore up her photo album that she put together with her mama on there. Because, in TDC, if you do any type of alterations to a picture or anything, a pencil or something like that, this is considered as contraband.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They won't let you keep it.
They won't let you keep it. Yeah. So, but they didn't have to do that shit though, right?
Yeah.
So they be tearing up. So they tore up all her stuff, tore up her cell, tore up everything or whatever, and she lost these pictures that she can't get back. So when she came home and got off that bus, the Greyhound, when she got off or whatever, I looked at it, I was like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I knew something wasn't right about my mama because for like a whole 2 weeks straight, she was scared to talk to us. Like she really wouldn't talk. She really wouldn't say too much anything. And as time kind of went on, she started kind of warming up, and that's when things started kind of coming out. So when I started, I used to work. I worked for TDC, and when I went to TDC, they gave me a little bit more understanding on how to understand her and some of the traumas that she went through in there. I was able to go on the inside and see it because at first I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why she do some of the things she did, her mannerisms, in there. They gotta manipulate you to survive. They gotta manipulate the system. They gotta try to manipulate everybody that stand in front of their door to try to get what they need, and stuff like that. So coming out with this same mentality, I'm like, you ain't gotta manipulate me. I'm gonna give it to you anyway. I got you. You ain't got to manipulate me, but but between the drugs and the trauma and stuff like that, my mama was really dealt. And this is not me making excuses for her, but it's like I have a little bit more patience and a little bit more understanding for her situation and for her life. And I said all of that to say, I don't know who you could talk to about your dad's previous life and the traumas and stuff, because it definitely was some traumas that he went through throughout his lifetime that made him go in a direction to give you a little bit more understanding.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. I know what helped him go down.
Yeah, because people deal with things differently.
Yeah, it's a cycle. I know what it is. Like I said, go check out some of my music and I'll talk about it. But I know what it is. Absolutely.
Do a plug.
I know what it is, and like I said, it's a family cycle. Sometimes you have to break. Like I said, when kids grow up seeing stuff like physical abuse in the household, man, that's what makes, like, a child only gonna do what they see.
Hey, look, we got a motto that we've been going by.
Yeah.
Man, fuck them people toes.
Fuck them people toes.
I know you headed with it. So just go ahead, rock with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Say it exactly what's how it's on your heart to say it. Like, you ain't got to feel to yourself.
All right.
Well, this audience is grown.
Actually, you know what? You want a part 3?
That's part 3 of the boy.
We're gonna part 3. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna part 3 of y'all. Hey, y'all tap in. You know what I'm saying? Send them your information again. You know what I'm saying? You
can follow me at True Francisco on all social medias. All my music's on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and all digital stores. And let me say one more thing before we end this, because I know she's listening right now. I want to give a shout out to my mother, Constance Francisco. And the reason why, and I hope one day I'm able to find a wife and a woman like her when it comes to this aspect.
Yes, sir.
All these things that my dad did to her, the physical abuse, the drugs, you would think a woman that a man has damaged her life that much because of his own selfish endeavors, you would think that woman would use that to turn the kid against the father. Because I see a lot of women that turn their kids against the father because they maybe they want to be back with the father and the father don't want to be with them. Maybe the father did some stuff that made them feel some type of way, so they're like, all right, I'm gonna turn your child against you. Because that's the one thing that you can do to damage a man is turn his child against him. I want to give a shout out to my mother because through all those things that my dad did to her, she never once, and I mean not once, ever, used it to try to turn me against him. She never ever once brought it up to me. Because I remember when I found out from my grandmother, who's my dad's mother. You know what I mean? She told me the truth. So when she told me the truth, I went to my mother and I said, Mama, why you didn't tell me? My mama looked at me and she said, son, your daddy was your hero. You loved him so much. I wanted you to make sure that you still saw him as that no matter what.
Right.
You know what I mean? She wanted, and she really was helping out my father, which is crazy. Because basically, you do all this damage, but I'm still going to allow your son to see you as his number one. So when you strung out on these drugs and I see you like this, I'm not going to bring my son around you. Matter of fact, because I love my son so much, this physical the physical shit that's going on in this household, I don't want my son seeing this, because if he see this, then he probably gonna get out there and think it's okay, which is what we're gonna talk about in the next segment. And then he gonna think, oh, the only way I can get a woman to listen to me if she don't want to is to put my hands on her. Inflict pain. You know what I mean? Mama said, no, bump that. My son 4 years old, we finna break this damn cycle right now. I don't want him seeing this. I don't want him experiencing it. I don't want him knowing what it is. I don't want him to even think in his mind to get mad at a woman and do some of the things that you're doing to me. So I want to give her a shout out for that, because no matter what, through all that, she still made sure I saw my dad as my hero, and she never spoke negative about what he was doing, and she never broke him down or anything like that. That's the true definition of unconditional love when it comes to somebody.
Shout out, mama. Shout out, mama.
Most definitely. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take it out. We're gonna tap back in.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't like how he said what we're gonna talk about next, because we do the questions.
Oh, my bad.
And we do the
My bad.
I don't like that.
Oh,
like I told J-Rock when he came on the show. Hey, we asked the questions around here. You know what I'm saying?
Get your ass on my shoulder.
Nah, it's all right. You know, I'm just joking. I'm just messing around, y'all. But definitely, we are the podcast that heals and builds.
Absolutely.
Make sure y'all tap in for episode number 3. This is so heavy. We had to do a 3-part. This is the only this is the only series that we did a part 3 to y'all so far.
Yeah.
It was that serious. So tap back in next weekend. Every Tuesday we dropping. Peace.
I have learned to piece together pieces that you broke. I can see through all of the deceitful things you wrote. I have managed cracking all the secrets to the codes. You swerved into my lane like you were sleeping on the road. Said we weren't indigenous and brought us here as slaves. Wrote yourself in her story and tore us out the page. Trying to cover up that you're the one that's out of place. Then wonder why my people wildin' out and in the rage. Bitch, you lied, we've been certified. My ancestors own this shit, I know that hurt your pride. I'm witnessing truth and lies unfold before my eyes. Prison in the flesh, oh what a time to be alive. Understand that white folks not our only enemies. We got those against us that still look like you and me. Just because you talk that talk don't mean you're fooling me. Cause I don't need a savior long as I stay true to me.